Snow drifts across the northern plains, piling against nothing. Then smoke rises from the earth itself.
A thin column curling upward from what looks like a grassy hill. Inside that mound, 20 feet below the surface of the snow, a fire burns, and around it, children sleep on fur blankets.
Their grandmother stirs a clay pot. Outside, the temperature is 30 degrees below zero. But inside, it's warm enough to sit without a coat on.
This is how the Native Americans survive brutal winters.
For thousands of winters, Native American tribes across the continent survived cold that could kill an exposed human in minutes. They had no furnaces, no insulation as we know it, no fossil fuels.
But what they had was something more fundamental. They understood that the ground beneath their feet held heat.
And so they dug into it, building homes that were part architecture, part geology.
And these weren't simple caves built on a rush. They were engineered systems, including temperature-controlled shelters with managed airflow.
Structural reinforcement and fuel efficiency that rivals modern passive solar design.
The Mandan and Hidatsa of the northern plains built earth lodges.
The interior Salish and Sahaptin peoples of the plateau dug pit houses along frozen rivers. The Mogollon and ancestral Puebloans of the southwest carved dwellings into desert mesas.
Each culture solved this. But the physics are simple. Soil doesn't change temperature quickly.
And 3 feet underground, the Earth stays near 50 degrees Fahrenheit, even when the surface is frozen solid.
Air, by contrast, loses heat instantly to wind.
A fire in an open shelter might warm your face.
But the cold steals that heat before it can settle. But if you put that same fire in a room wrapped in earth, and the soil
This is thermal mass, and it's why cellars stay cool in summer and warm in winter.
Native builders knew this, but it was not from textbooks. It was from keen observation.
They felt the stillness of a dugout space, the way air inside moved differently, the way a small fire could heat a large room if the walls were thick enough.
On the plains, Mandan women directed the construction of earth lodges. They marked a circle in the prairie sod, sometimes 60 feet across,
and dug a shallow pit. 4 massive cottonwood posts, each being a foot thick and forked at the top, were planted at the center, forming the bones of the structure. Around the perimeter, smaller posts were driven into the ground.
and across these, willow branches and prairie grass were woven into a dome.
Then came the critical layer, a foot of packed earth and sod, heaped onto the roof until the lodge looked like a natural hill. Over time, grass grew over it, and bison grazed on it. Inside, the design managed two opposing needs, keeping heat in and letting smoke out. The hearth sat at the center, directly below a hole in the roof's apex.
and smoke rose naturally toward that opening, drawn upward by the fire's own heat. But how did fresh air reach the fire without letting cold wind gust across the floor? The answer was the entry tunnel, a low passage 6 to 12 feet long that opened to the south or east. Cold air crept along this tunnel, entering low and moving toward the flames. The fire consumed it, heated it, and sent it upward as smoke. The system itself was self-regulating.
And the hotter the fire, the stronger the draft. There are no fans, no bellows.
Meanwhile, in the Plateau region, pit houses were dug deeper, sometimes 6 feet into the ground. Families entered through the roof in early designs, descending a notched log ladder into the warm hollow below. Later, builders added side tunnels, which allowed easier access and improved airflow. Inside these dwellings, a deflector wall stood between the entrance and the hearth. A low barrier of stone or wood that caught incoming cold air and redirected it around the fire. Without that wall, drafts would blow directly onto people sitting by the flames. With it, the air flowed smoothly.
Ancestral Puebloans refined this system further. By 700 CE, their pit houses included dedicated ventilation shafts, with tunnels carved into the side of the pit, opening to the surface. It is a pathway to the world beyond. Cool air descended through the shaft, hit a stone deflector, and was pulled toward the fire.
As the hearth consumed oxygen, the heated air rose and exited through the roof hole, causing the pressure difference to draw more fresh air down the vent. The result of this was a continuous cycle. Oxygen came in, smoke went out, and the warmth was retained. But these homes weren't only practical. The Mandan believed the 4 central posts represented the pillars holding up the sky.
Puebloan families carved small holes in their floors, known as sipapu, which symbolized the portal through which their ancestors emerged from the underworld.
And every time they cooked or slept in that space, they lived inside a creation story. Women owned the lodges they built. Grandmothers taught granddaughters which wood wouldn't rot, which angle shed snow, and which prayers to say when raising the center posts.
82 pre-industrial cultures across the globe built pit houses, from the Arctic to the Andes, from Siberia to ancient Japan.
People independently discovered that winter's answer lies beneath your feet. The logic is universal. The earth is older than any storm, steadier than any flame, and it asks nothing in return for its warmth but respect.
Parachute. The Native Americans understood that they didn't conquer winter, but collaborated with it.
Using soil and fire, and the knowledge passed down through generations. When spring finally came, families climbed the ladder into daylight, blinking in the sun.